Hi Aries, welcome to your January 2018 reading. It's late, I'm sorry. Let's get into it and see what's going on with you guys. I started working back at my winter job and I'm back to working with my favorite Aries in the whole wide world, my friend Ryan. I love it, it's so much fun. So yeah, let's see what's going on with you guys. Two of Wands. So I do feel that there is something that you're contemplating, a move that you're thinking about making, whether that move is an actual literal move to another house. Sorry, the video is lagging. What to do? Or it could represent sort of stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that you haven't quite gotten around to doing yet. Let me fix this lag in the video quickly. Sorry about that. Lag is done. Okay. So yeah, Two of Wands. Let me move this a bit closer. So Two of Wands energy. So I'm getting the feeling that a lot of you are having the desire or having sort of an inclination to kind of go out and do something. Take a risk is what I'm hearing. Taking a risk. Wanting to take a risk, wanting to try something new. You feel pretty confident. You still feel somewhat like you're not sure of what to expect. You're not sure of what's going to happen when you take that risk. But nonetheless, there's a risk that you really want to take. All right, Two of Wands. And I feel like a lot of you feel ready and you don't feel attached to anything at the moment, right? You have things going on, but you're not so much attached to what is... You're not feeling so attached. Okay. Could be involving another fire sign. But the Five of Swords is coming up. So, and also I'm using a new deck for those of you who are just checking out the channel for the first time. I'm using a deck called the Ghetto Tarot. And, excuse me, it was made in Haiti. And it is a photographic reinterpretation of the Rider-Waite. So if you look at the pictures, so it's all photographs and it's all using Haitian artists, Haitian models. Even all the props were made by Haitian artists, Haitian actors. So I really like this deck and I'm going to keep using it. So we have the Five of Machetes. They're called machetes in this deck. And the wands are called brooms. So if I say brooms, I mean wands. If I say machetes, I mean swords. And I might go back and forth between the two. So we have the Five of Machetes coming up. So also what that's kind of meaning to me is that there is some fear that in order to kind of get what you want, right? And I feel like what a lot of you want or are pursuing is maybe this new person here. It could also represent a new creative project, or this could also represent you guys sort of sitting on the throne, you guys accomplishing or reaching a goal and being able to really feel satisfied in your achievements, right? Like there's something that you want to achieve, there's something that you want to gain power over, so to speak, or there's a goal that a lot of you are chasing right now, and that the end goal is that you want the Queen of Brooms, or whether that's a person or whether that's you sort of showing up as a queen. And needing to do whatever it is you need to do to be seen, to be recognized, to feel as though you are the queen, right? Very warm, very friendly, very loving, but also incredibly fierce, incredibly honest, incredibly straightforward, very fiery, vivacious, exuberant, all of the above. But it's also not somebody that you want to really mess with, right? You don't really want to try and topple this queen off of her throne because good luck, right, as to what may happen as a result. But I'm getting the sense that a lot of you are kind of maybe questioning whether or not you may have to use some sort of underhanded method to get what it is that you want. I don't feel that this is actually what you're doing, but I feel like it's more of a contemplation of that you're kind of fearing that in order for me to get what I want, am I going to have to resort to these methods and these means, right? Because when Aries wants something, they're going to go for it full throttle, and they're gonna do what it takes to get there. And I want you all to be mindful of using underhanded methods or using sort of tactics, right, to get what it is that you want. You know, for example, like my Venus squares my Pluto in my natal chart. And so when it comes, especially when I was much younger, like in my early 20s, late teens, and I really wanted a relationship to work, or I really wanted somebody, there were like definitely some manipulative tactics. There were definitely some, you know, underhanded methods that I felt like I needed to use in order to get the end result that I wanted to see. But all that really pointed to was the extreme insecurity that I felt within myself, and how unlovable and unlikable and unworthy I felt of love to begin with, right? So you have the capacity to have what it is that you want, and you don't have to resort to any of these means or methods to get it. Especially if it's a relationship, you don't have to do that, because you know, you may end up getting what you want. And that's also the problem, right, with having Venus square Pluto, is that we often get what we want, but then we feel kind of like, well, I've had to do all this work to get it. I don't even want it anymore, right? So be mindful. And that can also be a thing for Aries, that like Aries sees what they want, and they want it. And it can be a very temporary or impulsive desire that even when you get it, you realize, like, I actually didn't want this to begin with. It was just something that I saw that I wanted to kind of have dominion over. Because the Two of Wands also kind of, to me, speaks of a situation that one wants to have dominance over, right? He has the world in his hands. He wants to dominate, right? He wants to, you know, he wants to go forth and get what he sees out in the horizon. And sometimes that thing that we want, you know, if we have to resort to manipulation, if we have to resort to underhanded tactics, then it may not be in our highest good in the first place, right? Like, it may not be the best thing for us altogether. So let's continue to see what comes up for Aries for January 2018. January 2018, Aries. Yeah. Okay, so we're dealing with some insecurity. We're dealing with, you know, having to get back up on our feet, right? We're dealing with feeling as though we have a lot of great opportunity before us, but there's also this sense of like, but I've already been there, done that, and it ended up really hurting me. Or it ended up sort of causing me some pain that I've moved through, and I feel that I'm ready for the next go-around, but nonetheless, I'm extremely cautious now. And it's like when we've been hurt, right? Especially when we've had our hearts broken, when we go through something like a heartbreak or betrayal, where in our heart center, in our heart chakra, where love used to be, where love should reside, where love should be, you know, existing and circulating, is then replaced with a sense of mistrust and a sense of disbelief and a sense of hesitation, and almost, I don't want to say cowardice, but it can become cowardice, right? So where love and where you know, trust and openness needs to be, we end up replacing that with distrust and expectation of failure, right? So, and that's, to me, what this card really speaks of, is that negotiating, right? Negotiating that heart center space and negotiating, well, love used to be here, and right now is a lot of difficulty with trusting people, especially new romantic contenders, right? Even trusting myself. So where that used to be is now, you know, this sort of dark energy here, and I'm trying to negotiate these two energies with, you know, recognizing that, like, these things can hurt me, but that, like, they really can at the same time, because I can recover. My spirit can recover, my heart can recover. The heart has the ability to overcome some of the biggest obstacles, right? And whatever you think you've gone through or you're going through, look at the person standing next to you, because you never know what the next person has gone through, and that it might eclipse, right? And you might actually end up being grateful for what it is that you have, that you're dealing with. So let's continue seeing what's going on. So there is this desire, right, for this Queen of Brooms energy, whether it's you or another person, right? You coming into your Queen of Brooms energy, or you, the cards are urging you to kind of not go about things in a textbook manner, but to really trust The Hierophant to me can also mean trust in the higher order of things. Yes, it can mean the structures and the social norms that we follow that sometimes need to be questioned, that we put on a pedestal. But this to me also means that you need to trust in divine order, that you don't need to really resort to any of these methods to kind of get the results that you want. That you have what it takes. You have the strength to really accomplish and attain what it is that you see in the horizon. And I'll show you the cards in a minute and how they're lined up and how they're speaking with one another. But yeah, as I was saying before, a lot of you are definitely, you know, wanting to either become the Queen of Brooms, the Queen of Wands, whether you're male or female, right? It doesn't matter. There's a desire to want to have some kind of, to accomplish, right? To feel accomplished. Or this could be another person that you are trying to win over, or that you want to ask out, or that you want to, you know, have in your midst, right? And she is a really great person to have in your midst, but she also is not someone that's going to tolerate Five of Swords energy. She can snuff it out, right? All the queens can snuff out all the bullshit. Feminine energy can snuff out bullshit. Feminine energy can snuff out all the bullshit. Yeah, okay. So for some of you, it's definitely a relationship. It's definitely somebody that you have your eyes set on, right? Or again, this could also represent you kind of conquering love, right? Like some of you might be frustrated. I feel like there's a lot of frustration in the air of like, why can't I seem to make this area of my life work? Right? And then we get kind of in this zone of like, well, I'm going to take it into my own hands and I'm going to do what I need to do. And sometimes, you know, when we follow our will and our own guidance versus God's guidance or the universe's guidance or whatever you know, define as your higher power, we end up sort of cutting ourselves short, right? Like, we end up cutting ourselves short. Like, if we made a list of the things that we want, and the things that we feel that we deserve. And then we look at God's list or the universe's list of what the universe feels that we deserve. That list would completely eclipse and blow away our own human imagination of what it is that we're possible of having and possible of achieving, right? And that when we're met with roadblocks, when we're met with pain, when we're met with, that card didn't feel right. When we're met with this energy of like, I can't go on, but I must, it kind of limits our vision. It limits our imagination. The lag is coming back. Sorry. We're just going to keep going. Let's see what else is coming up for Aries. The Hermit. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's another 9 card. The 9 of Cups wanted to come out too. And on the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Cups. So the 9 of Cups wanted to come out as well, which is another 9. So a lot of 9s, a lot of finishing out of cycles, right? Where y'all are at the brink of kind of completing some cycles and sort of moving through some past pains, moving through some past growing pains. Bottom of the deck is the Knight of Cups. Look how cool. I wish it wasn't such a glare so you could actually see the title. Knight of Cups. So yeah, at the basis of all of this is sort of a desire to want to put yourself back out there again. But there's a lot of fear regarding it. And there's a lot of expectation that it's not going to work out anyway. So let's look at the cards. Sorry if you can hear my fan. My computer fan is going crazy. I'm uploading video at the same time as shooting video, so it's probably, you know, explaining why there's such a lag. But anyway, so two of Wands, 5 of Swords, Queen of Brooms, Queen of Wands, 9 of Wands, the Strength card, Hierophant, 2 of Cups, and the Hermit. So the Hermit's coming up here. And as you can see before, right, like I'm showing you how the cards are talking to each other. So, you know, the 2 of Wands, you know, beneath or on top of Strength really shows me that you all do have what it takes, right? And maybe there's a Leo, right? A Leo friend, a Leo coworker. There's a Leo in your midst that really is helping you to kind of to kind of see the vision of what you want. This Leo could also be this queen here that you're trying to sort of approach, and that is taking, you see this person as being incredibly strong, right? You envision them. You're envisioning them as being incredibly powerful and strong, and it's like you just wish that you had an ounce of the strength that they have. Like you just wish that you could simply be, even an ounce of what this person, of this person's constitution. But you, I feel like you are a match for this person, right? Because you yourself are incredibly strong. You're a warrior. So you do have what it takes, right? It's going to take a lot of strength. It's going to take a lot of effort on your part. But there is this contemplation of like, well, do I have to resort to these kinds of means to get this end result, right? Because I'm already so kind of, I'm kind of freaked out from the last time I tried to do this. Right? That I'm just assuming the worst and I'm allowing my mind to kind of play me out. Like this card also to me represents when you allow your mind to kind of pimp you, right? When you allow your mind to pimp you out of the dreams, out of the opportunities that you think you deserve, because then your mind starts talking to you like, well, remember the last time you did that, man? Or, remember the last time you tried to do that and it totally turned to shit? And then you felt super weak and played out, and you felt like you didn't feel like your strong Aries self, right? Like the mind begins to tell us, right? Begins to really sort of have us ruminate on our past failures, right? And they're not really failures because it was a learning opportunity, because right underneath it we have the Hermit. And even if you can see in these two cards, it's like I feel as though both of these cards, look at the green in the background, right? So I feel like as if both of these cards are taken, these photos were taken around or in the same structure, right? So within the same sort of venue in which, like the same thing that hurt us, right? The same exact thing, the same place where we found hurt and pain, and the same place where we found ourselves kind of feeling bruised, persistent nonetheless, but still hurt, right? He's wearing a bandage, is also the same place where we can gain our wisdom, right? I really feel like these pictures might be depicting the same house with that green color in the background, right? And I'm somebody who really reads from the photos as well, and the images in the cards. So the same place from which we felt such pain and such loss that we're getting over at the same time, but nonetheless we're not forgetting, right? Forgive, but don't forget, is the same place through which we find better understanding of ourselves, more inner wisdom, right? If we can learn to really understand our pain and our failures and our defeats, not so much as defeats and not so much as failures, but as, as grounds for learning, as grounds for growth, as grounds for introspection, and as grounds for becoming better, then it actually allows us to move through these painful situations a lot more gracefully, right? So I feel like a lot of you are also taking an opportunity to really observe, how can I move away from this space of feeling super sort of cautious and into actually learning how to open my heart center back up again. Also, it's green, right? We have a lot of green here between these two cards, which to me speaks of the heart chakra, which is represented by the color green. The heart chakra, the heart center, where we need to heal, where we find healing, where we find our pain, right? And where our pain can ultimately lead us to healing. But I do feel that, the message of the cards is, trust in divine order. Whatever may happen between you and this person, you trust in divine order. I'm not really seeing an outcome of what's to come between you and this person, but I feel like this is more guidance for you, that you have the capacity to achieve the things that you want. And even if you don't end up with this exact person, that the Two of Cups energy is showing up in your reading, right? It is showing up. So it's something that's very capable and very possible for you. So what other guidance do we have for Aries? What other guidance do we have for Aries? The Chariot. The Chariot. The Chariot for me is not only about emotional mastery and being able to really take hold of one's emotions, right? Which I think can ring true for you all. as, you know, as to really understanding, like, are you allowing the pain to control you, or are you controlling the pain, right? So that you can kind of let it do for you what it needs to do for you. How are you using these experiences to best guide you and to your advantage, as opposed to them having the advantage over you? And I feel like the message is to go forth fearlessly, right? Go forth fearlessly, but it's the chariot, it's the charioteer, right? The charioteer isn't really going to engage in this Five of Swords energy. Maybe a Knight of Swords, right? Maybe even a magician, but not the chariot. The chariot is going to more so rely on their strength and their integrity. Strength and integrity to get what it is that they want, to go in the direction that they want to go. So, once again, I feel like the cards are urging you to really recognize your inner reserves, your inner strength, your inner capacity to get what you want. And if you really feel that you need to resort to these disintegrous means, like, rethink that, because it's only going to continue to put you in this energy. And maybe even in lower forms of this energy, right? Where you're not even really healing, and it's going to rob you of the ability to see the light before you. What is the outcome for Aries? Let's pull an outcome card for Aries for January 2018. Outcome for Aries, January 2018. The Emperor. Here you all are. Yes. I love when signs show up as their majors, as their major arcana energy. The Emperor. Here you are. The Emperor. The Emperor was a great soldier, a leader, right? An army general. I'm not sure what the highest ranking, what the highest ranking officer is, right? But, you know, leading an army general or an army soldier of the highest order, somebody who worked very, very hard from the ground up to get what they want, somebody that can be a very high integrity, right? They are the king. The Emperor is the king of all kings. The Emperor oversees other kingdoms, right? Other kings answer to the Emperor. So I see you all as showing up in your highest self. I see you all as sort of moving away from the need to maybe manipulate or strong arm a situation to go your way. You don't have to. Here you are right here in all your power, feeling incredibly empowered, right? The charioteer and the Emperor. It's almost as if I'm watching your energies kind of growing, right? We have starting out as a Two of Wands, wanting to be the queen, right? The Queen of Brooms, Queen of Wands, maybe the King of Brooms, King of Wands, right? And instead, not only are you surpassing this, but you're showing up as yourself in the form of the Emperor. So that's what I said before, right? That sometimes we make a list of what we want, we make a list of what we think we deserve, and then what we end up getting far exceeds our expectations. That we actually end up getting that and then some. But only if we play by the rules, right? I mean, and by rules, I don't mean, you know, playing by... I don't mean by, like, actual tangible rules, like clock out by 5:30. I mean rules as in following spiritual order and following divine order and following spiritual principles to get what you want. Being honest, having integrity, taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, right? What's the spiritual order that you're being called to follow? Like, I feel like you all are really having a test you're having a test, right? You're being tested. Your integrity is being tested. And I feel that a lot of you are actually going to pass the test and you're going to be rewarded pretty well, right? And that's why the Nine of Cups kind of popped out earlier, but I didn't pull it. But now it makes sense, right? That by following spiritual order, by following, you know, the rules and regulations of karma, right, that what you get comes back, you're actually going to be able to get back tenfold. As long as you don't succumb to this Five of Swords energy. as long as you don't pimp yourself out, pimp your mind, allow your mind to pimp you into thinking that you can't have what you want unless you lie and manipulate and kind of scheme and connive. Like, you don't have to do that. All right, Aries, I like it. I really like it. So that's your reading for January 2018. I love you all. And I hope you had a great new year, and I will see you in February. All right.